I changed the time on the event, so we may have some people coming in later. And feel free to ask questions throughout this entire thing. This is just kind of a basic introduction to 3D printing. It's kind of for fun. Um, so I don't really know what you guys know about 3D printing, but I guess we'll just kind of get started with the absolute basics. 3D printing is basically just making stuff with a machine. It builds it layer by layer out of plastic, metal, and other materials, and it just makes stuff. So I actually have a couple of things here that I wanted to show you guys, just so that you can kind of see like what a 3D printer can make. So this is a little helmet, and if you look really closely on this side, right here, can y'all kind of see these layers and stuff? These, you can hear it when I run my fingernail over it. These are the individual layers for a 3D printer. So like I said, 3D printer just superheats plastic, and then it melts it, and it spits it out of the print head, which just basically looks like a giant block with a nozzle on the bottom, and it squeezes it out kind of like how you ice a cake. It squeezes, comes out, and then it goes one layer, and it fills that whole layer in, and then it goes up another layer, and it fills that whole layer in, and it keeps going until it gets all the way to the top. Are y'all good so far? You'll have any questions? Because I know that's a lot to take in all of a sudden. I need some water. Pardon. Okay. So some of the other things that you can 3D print are just kind of cool little knickknacks. So this, as you can see, is just a little hat. It's nothing fancy. You can also make stuff that's a little bit more useful, such as a plant pot. So this is a little tiny octopus plant pot. It does have holes. Let's see, there you go. You can kind of see it on the bottom for the water to come through as you plant stuff or as you water the plants in it. And you can 3D print fancy little watering cans. So watering can hole is right there. Water goes in, water comes out. It's just kind of a cool little thing. You can also just make little odds and ends, like a Pokemon. Now, depending on the size of your 3D printer is going to depend on what you can make. So our 3D printer can only make stuff that's about yay tall. This is about 4.5 inches. It can make stuff up to 5.5 inches, but it can't make anything super big like a helmet. You have to pay extra money to get printers that are bigger that can do that kind of stuff, which kind of annoying, but that's how it is. But if you have super duper fancy big printers, you can make stuff. I printed off some pictures. China has one of the world's largest 3D printers, and they use not plastic, but concrete to 3D print houses. This is an actual apartment building that people live in. It is, I believe, 3 stories tall. All of this is 3D printed, as you can see. And then they go in and they add like the windows and the fixtures and stuff like that. I printed some more close-ups so that you guys could kind of see the layers of the concrete. So these 3D printers work just like one of the ones with the plastic. It sits in the print head with a little nozzle. They put the concrete in the nozzle, and then they just tell the printer to go, and it goes around the whole base of the thing, and it does its little layer, and it fills that whole thing in, and then it goes up, and it draws the next layer, and it fills that whole thing in, and it goes up and up and up until you have a house. Some of the companies that have gotten to 3D printing and stuff have gotten kind of crazy with it, which is really cool. And they have made cars. This, you will notice, compared to the house you can see all the definite layers. This is smooth. Okay, this looks like a car you would get at like a Nissan dealership or, just random dealership. This is 3D printed. Here's kind of a close-up of the back. They sand it down so that it looks as smooth as it does. Obviously, once again, the windows are not 3D printed. Those would not be super duper durable. Those are most likely plexiglass or glass that they put in normal cars. All the lights and stuff like the motor are not 3D printed. Pieces for them may be 3D printed, but like the whole thing isn't. And these cars are designed to have a roll cage, so just basically a steel, what is the word? The basic bare bones of the car itself is made entirely out of steel that's not 3D printed, and then they 3D print the different pieces and slowly build it around it. Do you have any questions? Nothing? Okay. Now, this is something, it's not as cool as a house, but I think it's pretty cool. There's a website that I go on to get all of the 3D files for all of these different things. And there are people who have designed really, really cool stuff on there that you can 3D print if you have different types of material. So as we've already seen, 3D printers can use concrete, they can use plastic, and they can use metals, rubbers, glow in the dark, glass, wood even, which is really crazy. If you have rubber, you can 3D print a flip-flop. I'm not kidding. This is a real flip-flop. It's really cool. It is rubber. This is a photo of what it looks like as it 3D prints, or after it 3D prints, but this is what it looks like. And so these little sides right here would get folded over and tied together with like the coils that you see up here so that you have a functioning shoe. I haven't been able to print one of these yet, but I really want to, just because I think it'd be really cool. And I don't know. I like 3D printed stuff. But there are like a lot of other things that you can 3D print. You know, I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. You can, if you have the technology to build your own 3D design. So you could use a different program like Tinkercad, which is a free one that's really good for basic and beginners learning. I use Tinkercad. I personally really, really like it. Or you can use something like Blender, which is another free program you can download. I highly recommend that one too, but that's a lot harder and it's kind of funky to deal with. So Tinkercad is a lot easier to use. But if you learn how to 3D design, you can kind of make anything you want. And so there have been people that have worked with different animals and even other human beings who maybe there was a car accident and they lost their arm, or maybe something really bad happened and they lost an arm, or in the case of an animal, maybe they lost a beak if it's a bird or something like that. So if a bird had lost its beak, in the past, unfortunately, it would have died. There wasn't really a way to keep it alive. Birds that lose their beaks cannot eat, they cannot drink, they don't because they need them to grab stuff. But because of 3D printers, they have been able to start saving birds that previously would have died. So this is Beauty, and you can see this is her before photo. Her beak was shot off by someone with a gun, and she was found by a police officer who took her to a bird place or a rehabilitation center. And there they were able to get in contact with someone who designed and 3D printed a new beak for her. So you can get this from the public library. This, I think, is Dog River's copy, but you can put it on hold and have it sent. It tells you the whole story of Beauty. But basically what happened is, here's a photo. They created a 3D design of the beak, and they attached it in surgery so that she could just live again. Now, unfortunately, the beak is not stable enough for her to be able to be released back into the wild. It does have to get replaced, and it does have to get fixed every so often, so she does have to stay in captivity. But she is able to eat again. She can drink by herself. She can even groom her feathers, and she can do just normal bird things. And something that's really, really cool that they've been able to discover is that bird beaks actually do grow back. So because of Beauty losing her beak and then having her beak redesigned and 3D printed in like this super hard plastic, they have been able to discover that possibly over time, this could be over many, many years, Beauty's beak could grow back, and she could potentially get released into the wild again. I don't know how likely that is, but it could come to the day where, 5-10 years down the road, she's still alive and she may have a whole beak again and won't have to ever wear a 3D printed one. For other animals, like this little penguin guy, his foot was damaged. I don't know the exact story behind it, But in order to help this little penguin, the scientists and the doctors were able to 3D design and 3D print a flipper foot for him so that he can swim and walk again. One of my personal favorites, this is Fig the Fox. I actually follow the owner of Fig on Instagram. I don't even know how I found her account, but through her, I found out about Fig. So Fig was a little fox that was born on a fur farm, and he was not treated well. And she was able to adopt him and rescue him. But after doing that, they realized that his foot was basically ruined. And she was able to get in contact with a company that is working with her to 3D design and 3D print a prosthetic leg for him that he won't try and take off because apparently he's really bad about taking off the foot and just running around the house. But so this so far is the design for his new 3D printed foot and his leg. And he uses this and he can run around. He acts like a normal fox. I mean, even without it, he does, but this would just make it easier because he limps all the time without it. So that's just yet another thing that has been 3D printed and made in a way that I don't think prosthetics for animals were really done a bunch before 3D printers. I could be wrong, but one really cool thing though. So back in, I guess it was 2014, there was a story circulating about a girl who was, for whatever reason, her arm had been injured in such a way she couldn't use it as well anymore, but she needed a prosthetic arm. And her father was a budding 3D designer. I don't know if he did it for work or what exactly the case was, but he did it for fun. And he was able to 3D design her a new arm. He went to the local library where he lived. I believe this was in Washington State, and he contacted them and asked them if they would be willing to 3D print his daughter's prosthetic arm if he paid them, and then they would just give it to him all because he already designed it. So he would just give them the files, pay them, and then they would give him the pieces back and he would assemble it and give it to his daughter. So this is the photo of his daughter. This is of her arm. He made it pink, or he requested it would be pink because that was her favorite color. It's designed in such a way that as she moves her arm like this, the hand on it opens and closes, and she's actually able to pick stuff up and throw things. Once again, this has been a while since this happened. I'm pretty sure the dad has been able to make a much better arm by now. But the whole point behind this was prosthetic arms and prosthetic legs for humans cost thousands and thousands of dollars, especially if someone's really, really little, because as kids, you grow. So as you grow, you get bigger, which means you have to have a new arm every so often because otherwise it won't fit anymore and it won't be, the same length as your other arm. So it would have costed him, I think, $100,000 or something for him between the doctor visits and the prosthetic and replacing the prosthetic and everything. And he wanted to find a cheaper way that would help his daughter that he could afford. I don't know how much cheaper this would be in the long run because he would have to design it and pay for it to get printed and assemble the whole thing himself. But I mean, he did it, and that's really amazing. There was a school, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Bill Art Elementary. It's over there on Highway 5 it's towards Douglasville. They have a teacher there that's really into 3D printing, and he worked with the second grade and one of the fifth grade classes, and they 3D designed arms for two of the teachers there. And so they were actually on Channel 2 News for just kind of like a whole special on this, and it was really, really cool. But so this was her 3D printed arm that the students created. What they did to make it is they measured her other arm and they made sure they had all the dimensions correct. And then they designed it in Tinkercad, which was the program I mentioned earlier that's like really good for beginners and stuff. They designed this as like a whole group project for the whole class. And they made it. And then they let her try it on. And so I know in the video that they showed, the teachers are actually like tossing soccer balls or softballs or something back and forth. Like they're able to use the arms. I don't know how much they use it day to day, but once again, something that was easily 3D printable because arms are typically cut up into smaller pieces for the 3D printer to make. You can make them on much smaller printers, and that just means that it's like cheaper to make. I don't know. Anyway, do you have any questions? I know I'm talking a lot. I just really like this stuff. So if y'all have any questions, please let me know. I'm more than willing to answer anything. I need some water again because I get really thirsty. But yeah, I guess that's kind of the basics. I feel like I flew through that. I don't know. Let me see. Okay. I don't know why the comments are not showing up on my end. That's odd. What is the question about the time-lapse video, Amanda? Let's see. I don't know how to make it where I can see them. Yeah, because it's not showing me the comments at all. That's so weird. Okay, I'm sorry if I have not seen any of y'all's comments yet. I'm going to... Do y'all still see me if I switch to another tab? I'm going to try and see if I can find the comments. Un momento, por favor. My computer will function again. I don't know what's going on with it. Okay, what did you make in the time-lapse video? In the time-lapse video, Charmander was made. So he printed just like this, and that's how I filmed him. But once again, this guy took, I think, 5.5 hours. I could be wrong. I set him on fast print, which means he's not super duper pretty looking, but I don't know. I think he's really cute. But yeah, so it was this Charmander that was made. The video, I think, was cut down to 1:36, and I also chopped out like huge portions of the video so that it wouldn't be like a 5-minute video of a thing printing. So, okay. It's still not letting me just get to the live stream on my own. I don't know what's going on. Pardon, guys. This is the first time I've done one of these in a long time, and apparently Facebook hates me. So, okay, I can see that people are commenting, or at least here. Nope, come on, computer. Function. No, it's not wanting to. Okay, it's still not letting me. Are there any other questions? Mandy, I'm sorry to bug you. If you could please let me know. I wonder, actually. Let me try something else. I don't know why it acts like this. What is my 3D printer like? Okay, so I downloaded this video from my phone because I figured someone would ask what the 3D printer was like, and I wanted y'all to experience what it's like. My 3D printer is small. I can actually go grab it if you want in a second. But the reason it's not running right now and the reason I don't have it with me is because it is very, very loud. So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but oops. I made this video of it while it was making this. I don't know if you can hear it, but it just kind of sounds, I don't even know how to describe it. Very loud. It is very clunky. One of my coworkers described it as sounding like demented bagpipes or a squeaky dolphin. And I have to agree with that. But let me grab it real quick so I can show you guys what it looks like because it's small enough I can bring it over here. So give me a second. Okay. This is my 3D printer. This is not actually mine. This is the library's 3D printer. So this is the squeaky child. Around so you guys can see the front of it. Okay, so this is the front. this part right here is where it prints. This right here is the print head. It moves back and forth. As you can see, the plastic goes into it, and it comes out of this nozzle right here. This nozzle, when it's turned on, is very hot. It's around 460 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's like way hotter than it takes to cook a pizza. And this, the spot where it 3D prints, down here, gets really, really hot too. So I try not to touch it when it's turned on, but I have burned myself a bunch. Hello. This is what you use to 3D print with. It's called filament. This is the plastic. So this is actually the plastic that this guy 3D printed with. Let me pull it off so you guys can see it. Okay, so it comes in a roll like this. It weighs 1 kilogram. And it typically fills all the way up to the end, but I already used a bunch of this. So that's why it's kind of halfway down. And just, I might find this kind of cool. The 3D printer, the other one that I have in my office, does not work. Like the filament won't sit on the little thing that it's supposed to sit on. So I 3D printed this. This is actually made with another 3D printer. And I can get it screwed on. Oh, doesn't really matter if it does. This is a spool holder. You can just put your 3D filament on it, like I had with this. And it just holds on to it. Make sure it doesn't fly off or fall on the floor or anything, and the filament can just spin around it as it 3D prints because the printer pulls the plastic down into the machine. But yeah, so this printer is a Lulzbot Mini. It costs, I think, $1,500, which that's a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie. It's also about 4 years old. So I would say if you are interested in 3D printers, don't go with this. Well, I would say go with this guy if you have the money. I love this printer a lot. It works really, really well. Very easy printer to use. But if you don't want to have to pay $1,500, you can get a bunch of other printers that are the exact same size or even bigger than this for like less than half the price. There's one that's called a FlashForge Finder. I will type it up so you guys can see if that showed up in the comments. FlashForge Finder, it's around $350 to $400, just kind of depending. I highly recommend it. It is very quiet. It is very easy to use. It uses a plant-based plastic called PLA. This one doesn't. This one has to be fussy and has to use the toxic plastic, which it's not really toxic. They just don't recommend that you like stand over it and breathe the entire time that it's printing. So I haven't had any problems with it, and I've been using it for 4 years. But yeah, so the FlashForge Finder, the Creality Ender 3 is another really great one. It's around 250, I think, last I checked, and it's actually way bigger than this printer. It's a lot more open than this one as well. It is, I think it prints 10 inches tall by like 9 inches wide. Oh, it didn't show up. Okay. Let me see if I can add it as questions. Oops. I don't know if that showed up. It should have showed up as a question. Just ignore it. It's not a question. I'm just trying to get y'all where you can see it. If that still doesn't show up, I can very easily make a list and we can post it on both the Steam Engines page and Nevilomisons. It's just kind of like a cheap rundown of 3D printers. But yeah, so the Creality Ender and the FlashForge Finder are like the best and the cheapest. Creality actually makes like a bunch of different 3D printers that you can purchase that range between, I guess, about $250 up to like $1,000. Okay. So let me get my blanket. Oops. It's cold in here, so I have a blanket. But yeah, so this guy, like I said, it's $1,500. The other issue with it is that the plastic that it uses, this is way thicker than like any other printer. I don't know why they designed it in such a way, but it uses plastic that literally no other company uses. I don't know why. But it has made it very hard recently to find the plastic because the company had gone out of business for a short amount of time, and then I think repurchased or purchased by someone else. But it means that you can't find any plastic for it. Or if you can, it's like $50 and $50 shipping from like out of the country. So I don't know. I recommend this one, but it's really loud, and that's kind of an issue with the plastic stuff. Otherwise, I'd say if you have the money, get this thing, because I don't know. I've used it for 4 years and I haven't really had any issues with it, and it works really well. Not big though, so if you ever wanted to print something that was like really, really, really big, you can't really make it with this. This one prints, let's see, 5.5 by 5.5 by 5.5. So it's 5.5 inches wide, 5.5 inches long, and 5.5 inches tall. But that's as big as it can print. Do you have any more questions? Do y'all want me to show you the stuff that I 3D printed that I showed before? Let me see. Oh my gosh, function computer. Let's see if I can get it to work. Oh, okay, now it's showing me the comments. Oh my gosh, why? Okay, I found the comments. Well, I found my comments. I don't understand what's going on with this machine. Okay, let's see. So I had my cute little Viking helmet. I don't know why I printed this. I actually had this sitting at my house. I think I had been trying to glue it back together and I gave up at some point because like part of it kind of broke right there. I don't know why I have this, but it's cute. This is like an itty bitty little skull. So kind of cool little Halloween decoration. This is actually part of a prop that I have been working on. I ripped this from a video game file and then converted it into a 3D file. So that's actually something that's really, really cool. If you are into prop making or cosplay, so costume play, costume designing, stuff like that, one of the really cool things with 3D printers is that you can go into these like really fancy video games. So like World of Warcraft, Skyrim, I'm trying to think of something else, Witcher 3, stuff like that. And you are legally allowed, I don't know how exactly it's legal, but the companies have allowed people to do this for the last 5 years. You are legally allowed to pull 3D files from the game because most games nowadays are built with like 3D file infrastructure. It's like a character isn't going to be a 2D character like the old cartoons. It's going to be 3D. You can pull the 3D files and then you can upload them into something like Blender, which is, once again, the free 3D software that you can use. And you can sit there and painstakingly, because it took me 6 hours to pull this, about cried. But you can pull it if it's something like a little design that you need, or maybe you just want to have it where it's like a certain character, but you want them from shoulders up. The 3D print is like a nice little figure or something like that. You can pull it from the game, put it into Blender, rip it, and fill the whole thing in, make it a solid figure, and then you can 3D print it on a printer. I actually have plans to do a 3D printer and cosplay video, which will be on our YouTube page, hopefully within like the next month or so. And I'll be going more into depth about this, as well as like sharing some guides and different things that I have done to rip files and to flatten files to be made into patterns for like foam or different supplies and stuff like that. So I'll go into more of that there. If you're interested in the bioprinting that I was talking about and like the prosthetics and stuff, I actually am currently editing a video that will go up on Monday that is all about bioprinting and 3D scanning and prosthetics and stuff like that. And I go a little bit more into depth about it, but I don't know how long it's going to be yet. I think last I checked it was like 30 minutes long, and I'm trying to cut it down a bunch so it's not like way too long. But anyway, yeah, if you're interested in that, that will be on our YouTube channel. I think the link is in our bio on the Facebook page. If not, it's in our bio on the Instagram page, and you can check it out there. But I post stuff like every Monday that's just random different things about 3D printers and art. The other thing that I 3D printed, and all of this that I'm showing you guys was printed on this little machine. This is the watering can. So once again, pretty cool. Water comes out here, and it's got a little opening down inside here. This is the plant pot, little octopus dude. This is for a succulent, I'm assuming. I 3D printed another plant pot, and that's what we used it for. I know there's one of the libraries, Central Hatchie Public Library, has a succulent, I guess, garden. I don't really know. But they have been using, and they have been requesting and using 3D printed plant pots for all of their succulents that they have. And then the other guy, this is the one that was in the stop motion, or not the stop motion, but the time lapse video that Neva Lemison posted. And this is the Charmander. So once again, he took about 5 hours to print. Oops. This took about an hour. This was 2.5 hours, I think. This was maybe 4. This was maybe 5 or 6. Just because in order to print, it had to put supports into all of here so it could build it up. Otherwise, because it can't just go in a circle, stuff will start caving in on itself. Oh, no, this is the Charmander. Another really, really cool thing is you can actually paint all this stuff. So I like to use acrylic paint, just whatever's cheap. I get it from Hobby Lobby or Walmart. It's just like the little bottles that are maybe, I guess, 99 cents or whatever. You just have to do a couple coats, smooth it out if you want to with sandpaper beforehand, paint it however you want it, and then you can seal it with like a nice little varnish sealer or something like that, or like a spray acrylic. And yeah, and then you can just paint them however you want. We had a program at the Villa Rica Public Library where one of the gals had won a Bulbasaur Pokemon. So it's like the green one with the bulb on his back. And she painted the whole thing. I've painted a lightsaber before, as well as like other little props and odds and ends. I don't have them with me because they're all at my house right now because some of them are drying still. But yeah, just acrylic paint or spray paint even. Spray paint works pretty well. So I'm thirsty again. Do y'all have any more questions? I mean, okay, now I'm seeing comments. Now I see one comment. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm trying to think of what else. You know, I can't take that up. For the 3D printer, this is just kind of a little hack that I figured out. I'm gonna pick this up so you guys can see it. On the build plate, so that's that orange square in the center, sometimes what you're printing doesn't stick well to what you're making, or to like the printer itself. So it'll come off and you'll have to throw it away because you can't save it. And most of the machines are not good enough where you can like pause the print or like have it completely stop the print and then come back and finish it later. Like you have to throw away what you printed if it isn't completely finished. The way I found out how to make sure that your thing always sticks to your printer is Elmer's glue. I get the Elmer's glue sticks and I just slather the whole thing with it and it sticks really, really well. So I don't know. If any of you guys have printers or are interested in getting printers, I recommend that or painter's tape or both. Sometimes just having like the painter's tape and then putting glue on top of the painter's tape, or I've even had it. We had one printer that was just insane. And I would have to do glue, then painter's tape, then glue again, and it would make this stuff hold really, really well. So there's that. Just kind of moving these guys out of the way. Wish I could put them up so y'all could see them more. There. I didn't even think about that. Here, I'll just set this. So, do y'all have any more questions? Once again, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we already have a couple of 3D printing videos. I also did a Tinkercad Basics video if you guys are interested in that. So if you want to learn how to use Tinkercad and maybe 3D design your own items, you can do that there. 3D design is just, or I would say, a really good skill to have because so many jobs nowadays are like wanting 3D designers, or just it helps with geometry, with understanding the way that shapes are related to one another and stuff like that. But yeah, so we've got that on the YouTube channel, as well as just like some other arts and crafts videos and like basics of drawing and stuff like that. But I guess, I don't know. Should we keep going? Any more questions? Ooh, my voice. No, stop talking to myself. Okay. I guess that's it. Yes. If y'all don't have any more questions, if you guys are interested in learning more about 3D printers, just let Mandy or let Rachel or really anyone at Neva Lummiston or any of the libraries know, and we can do something like this again. But I guess that's it. Mandy, do you have anything else that you would like me to say or do? That looks better. And if you guys are interested in me making the flyer for the different 3D printers that are like affordable and really good to use, let me know, and I can definitely get that done like sometime this week or maybe next week. So. Sorry, I'm waiting to hear if there's anything else I need to say. Okay, so oh, okay. Yes, sorry about that. We will be doing a drawing for a prize on Friday. The prize is either this guy or I think there may also be a dragon involved, but I know at least it's this guy and then some of the other little goodies that I showed you guys today. Maybe some more, we'll see. But as of right now, just think Charmander and then like the plant pot and the little skull and maybe even the little hat if you guys are interested in that. But that will be on Friday. So be sure to tune in to the Neva Lummiston Memorial Library live stream for that. But yes. Are we good? Any last minute questions before I head out? I don't know why. It's still not letting me see comments. I know I've said that a lot. It's just kind of weird. Okay, so the live stream will be during the back to school challenge chat, which will be at 11 a.m. on Friday. So be sure to join for this. Anything else? I'm not seeing any other comments. Okay. Well, thank y'all for watching. I know this was kind of a mess. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it'll be much better in the future. But thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all again later.